Hi Carlos, how you doing today?
Hey, how you doing, Craig? How's everything going?
Yeah, I'm doing good, thank you. Thank you very much for your time. I know you're an extremely busy man, making lots of music and
Yes.
doing appearances. So
Yes, sir.
I really appreciate your time. Just to start off, I just want to tell me about your 2021. Happy New Year, Merry Christmas to you, and
Yeah, Happy New Year,
tell
Merry Christmas
us.
to you as well.
Oh, thank you. And tell us about your just a review of your 2021.
So 2021 for me, it was a good year comparative to, I guess, 2020, right? When everything was kind of really slowed down. I think 2021 was the
Yeah.
first time I was, yeah, it was the first time I was able to get back on stage, able to perform live again, especially here in California. So it was a lot more leeway to really just do a lot of things we weren't able to do. And me, one of the big things I did last year was I was able to lock in, and I was working on putting out these mini albums every month. So that was like my
Yes.
goal. Yeah, that was my goal like all year. I was like, I just got to consistently do something, because not all the venues are open. There's not a lot of opportunity for shows and whatnot. So I'm like, you know what? If I'm not performing, if I'm not out there in the public eye, and out physically outside, I want to make sure I'm still just coming with consistent music. So that was 2021 for me. Really learning a lot about myself. Really making some big moves. Um, Leaving a company I was with for almost 7 years on a personal standpoint to really go all
Wow.
in on my business endeavors and my music endeavors as well. So very excited. And then wrapping up to this year, I feel like I'm just, fearless, ready to take on the world. So very, very blessed.
Yeah, and did you have to actually cancel, performances? Like, how long of a period was it without, doing any live music?
I think I haven't done anything live. I mean, I guess the threshold for it. I think March of 2020 until right, this summer this year, so about a year
Wow.
and a couple months, yeah, before there's really big shows. I did a couple virtual performances, like they would have you record your own set, and they would live stream it for like universities and different things like that, but nothing physical until this year.
Uh,
So very excited to be back at it, and then hopefully we don't get shut down again. It's the talks in the world, so we'll see how it
yeah.
goes. Yeah.
Tell us about that, the virtual thing. I mean, that's not something you do every day. I mean, what was
Yeah,
that experience like?
that was a very good experience. There's a campus out in the city that I live in, Stockton, California. There's a
Right.
campus for the University of the Pacific here, and they had a live stream show for their like homecoming, and it was like a big festive thing. So they had it, but people couldn't come out physically, so they had it. They streamed it, and they had a couple of big
Right.
artists perform. Yeah, they had a couple of bigger artists performing, and I was lucky to be one of the artists that opened up for the whole event. So it was really cool. It was different. I literally was in a room with a green room, and I had to
Right.
yeah, crazy, but I'm just performing, and it's going live stream right to thousands of people, which was so cool. That
Wow.
was different too, because you're performing essentially just in front of a cameraman, but you have to act like
Yeah.
you got this big crowd in front of you. So that was a different experience. But I think that's where the world is going. I'm noticing a lot of artists are doing that. They're doing their own, recording their own sets. You know what I mean, like their own live sets, and then distributing them to their fans and things like that. So I think it's pretty cool. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
So I'm glad I got the experience. So
there's a lot, we've got the technology now. There's lots of
yes,
things that we can do, so we may as well take advantage of it in this sort of
exactly,
situations, right?
100%.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and then in talking about that, tell us about COVID. I mean, it hit us all, 2020, at the start of 2020. So,
Yeah.
for you, are your family staying safe? And for you, how did you make the adjustments?
Yeah, so the family is all good. I think everybody's had their couple scares with it, but everybody's good. And I think me making adjustments, I think going back to what I said about not being able to perform, I think that year I really had to buckle down and really realize what I wanted out of life, what I wanted
Mm.
out of music. I had to really become a stronger writer and really dive into my craft. Because at that point, when you're just at home, not able to do the things you once were able to do, you really have to hone in on your capabilities. So I think that was one thing COVID I am grateful for, is that it kind of forced me to look in the mirror and really figure out who I was and really start building this grit, tenacity, and work ethic to really just propel me through that next year of 2021. So
Yeah.
it's very unfortunate that we're dealing with what we're dealing with, but I think it's actually helped propel me a lot further going through those experiences.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
And so let's talk about like the latest recording that you've done. I listened to it last night and I listened to it again today. Colorblind.
Yes.
Um, one thing that I sort of noticed, it's the first track. The first track is Pain.
Yes.
So the first thing that I noticed is like it's like hip hop and rap, and then all of a sudden it just breaks down into this
Yeah.
jazz groove, and it's like
Yes.
that is so cool.
Yes. I appreciate that.
I really like that. So, tell us about this whole recording process.
So what we basically did is we put out, like I said, a bunch of music, and just to back up. So we put out a bunch of music in 2021. We're putting out music consistently, like every 3 or 4 weeks, so every month or so. What I then did is I basically made a compilation album out of all those songs. I took the best songs that performed the best, some of my favorites, and condensed them down into this body of work. And I also added in a couple of extra like bonus tracks. So it's like a compilation album in a sense, but how we did it is really cool. And the process of recording it was very like run and gun. Like a lot of it was very strategic, but towards the end, we were really just trying to get in, make good music, and put it out. And it worked really well. It allowed me to really get outside of my head and just and be consistent on a monthly basis. And a lot of people can't do that. A lot of people,
Yes.
you're trying to make music and you kind of just uh you prolong it, you overthink it, you have a song you sit on for 6 months before you even put it out. And I think I learned like to trust my abilities in that process, and really if I feel something in my heart is good in the moment, go for it. Don't overthink it too much, because you might miss your moment, or you might miss opportunity by waiting too long. So that was one of the things that really came with that project. Working with a lot of amazing artists out of the Stockton
Yeah.
area, California area. One artist was from Florida, so it was very cool to be able to work with a couple of different people, and a couple of different producers as well, and then have those sounds, like those jazz sounds that you hear on Pain. That's one of
Yeah.
my that's one of my all-time favorites, man, because it's just so. I love being in the room when people first listen to it, and how like they're nodding their head to the beat, and then it just switches and people are like, "Whoa, what's going on?" Kind of really catches their
Yes.
attention. Yes, and it makes that
Yeah.
staple. Yeah, so I really appreciate that one, and I really love the recording process. I love those. I love transitions. I think I love
Yes.
like the way music transitions. I love like uh, I like I love the thought of versatility. I love the thought of being kind of unpredictable. I think if you ever get to
Mm.
a position where people can like look at your song title and already know what it's going to sound like because you're so predictable, I think that's when
Yes.
that's not necessarily a good thing. You kind of want to have people on their toes, like, hey, I don't know what this is going to sound like. He's always coming with something crazy. What is this? And I think that's the best. Well, they say the best art is not the art that everybody likes. In a sense, it's like the art that is
Hmm.
either, it's like super polarizing. It's either people hate it or they love it. That's when you know you
Yeah.
have something on your hands. Don't some people just make art just to be in the middle, where everybody kind of like, okay, this is kind of good. But that polarizing art, I think, is what's going to stand the test of time. So I think that right there was like, and you're not the first person to say that. So I think I'm on the right path. They're just trying to stand the test of time, do something a little bit different every time. So
Yeah, absolutely. And so obviously that means that you have like a bit of respect for the jazz music. You know, it's not just rap. I mean, obviously that's your sort of go-to, but it seems
yes,
like you have other music tastes. So
yes.
that's always good to have as well.
Yeah, that comes from being around my grandmother at an early age, around my mother, playing a lot of different kinds of music, man, from R&B to Motown, oldies, jazz
Right.
records, country records, and I feel like as an artist, you need to understand that every genre, every song serves its purpose in some way. and being able to collect from that and then interject it into your music. It's a beautiful thing. So I'm blessed to have those experiences and be able to grow up on those sounds. So it's helped me a lot.
Yeah, and one thing about your lyrics as well, very inspirational, very talking about your family. Did that
Yeah,
take you sort of a while to sort of get comfortable doing that, or is that just something that came out naturally?
I think for me, it is something that took. You know what? No, actually, I think from the beginning, I always would reflect on my experiences, my financial experiences, my family situations, relationships, because I felt like for me, my artist name is Carlos Bryant. That's really just my government name, and I felt like
Right.
I'm a reflection. Like these are just my diary pages in a sense. Like I'm not trying to sell this image of this artist that, or I'm really just myself. I'm just a normal guy. And that's how I kind of like my brand kind of is. I'm just this normal guy, really, really motivated, and I like to share my stories of where I've come from. And I think, yeah, being vulnerable is the only way you do succeed. I feel like if you're too
That's right.
guarded, if you can't open up, people can't relate to you. People relate to you when um, you're vulnerable. And like we go back to the song "Pain," I think a couple months ago I performed it in San Francisco, and then
Right.
somebody came up to me after the show with tears in their eyes because they could relate to that. The second half of the song, it gets a lot more emotional.
Mm.
They were going through a
Mm.
similar situation that I was talking about in that song. So it's like it makes me think like, man, being vulnerable does pay off because you never know who's going to resonate with. So that's kind of my thing. So I love it. I
That's
love
that.
being truthful and vulnerable.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's makes you feel so good. It doesn't matter, everyone's human, and for
Yeah,
people to come up to and say that you've inspired them, or
yeah,
they can relate to the story that you tell. I mean,
yeah,
that's just really touching. So,
yeah.
yeah, that's great. So, and tell us, like you were talking a little bit before about writing your songs. How was that process? Has that changed to now? And how long do you sit on a song? Do you sort of mix it, or do you add things to it, or how long do
Yeah.
you say, oh no, no, this is not good enough, or do you sort of work on it, or do you go, oh, that's really cool, let's keep it, straight away?
Yeah, so me, it just what I'm learning is to keep everything, right? So when you
Right.
write lyrics, keep them stored in your notes. If you have beats or whatever, store them because sometimes I do something and I'm not feeling it in the moment, and I'll hear that same melody or that beat or whatever, that hook, a couple months later, and I'll go back and finish it. I'll be in love with it. Um,
Right.
Sometimes the songs write themselves in a sense, you know what I mean? And sometimes we're not ready for it, I guess, in a sense. I would say you're like, I don't know about this, but there's something there. That's why you started doing it. So I come back
Exactly.
a lot to stuff. I think as of late, I think my process has been I try to break the songs down. I'll go in, come up with the instrumental with one of my producers. We'll lay down like a
Hmm.
hook. I mean, make sure we like the hook, and then I'll usually take it home and sit on it for a couple hours, and then come up with the rest of the verses and fit everything else in. But I like to have a good hook. I feel like that's like your
Yeah.
center stone of your song, like how the hook. You know what I mean? Like, no, if it's simple or if it's a radio type, song, the hook is very key for me. I'm
Yes.
infatuated with hooks. You know what I mean? Um,
Absolutely.
so I think that's like I know a lot of songs that have bad verses, like bad bridges and verses, but good hooks, and people still will listen to them, as opposed to the
Yes.
opposite. If you have a bad hook, nobody will, they won't give you much replay value. So that's what we do now.
Exactly.
That's kind of what we do now is we come up with the beat, lay down the hook, and I'll come back and really write to it. And I start to do that to not waste time because I feel like in my earlier days I would spend so much time in the studio trying to write. You're paying for studio sessions and you're trying to spend hours writing the song when you could just go in, knock out 8 different hooks and bridges, and then take it back to home with you, see which one you actually like, finish it completely, and then go into the studio and cut it. So you can save time. So that's all I'm all about saving time nowadays. So that's kind of my
Yeah,
process
absolutely.
as of late.
And one thing that I like as musicians, is to play live. I mean, it's great that you can sort of go in the recording studio and do a great sounding recording, but until you can actually go out and sort of do it live. So for you, for your playing performances live, like how many people do you need? And what's a normal show for you? Like, is it very hard to set up, or how does it all work?
It's I think for me, man, it's crazy. I'm one of those people where I always get like super jittery, you know what I mean? Super, I think excited. I don't think anxious is the right word. I get super excited.
Yeah.
Um, and once I hit the stage,
Nervous?
all the energy. Um, I don't know. I think it's funny because I think so, but not. But when I step on stage, no, it's weird. It's one of those things. I don't know if you've ever experienced that. It's like maybe be nervous until I step onto this. Like it's my time to go,
Yes.
and it just gets
Yes.
quiet, and I'm in the zone. So I think that's why I rephrase it as just excited. My body's excited. I'm ready to perform. I have these feelings that I want to give to the audience, and I have to go into this almost character. And some of these songs are very deep and heartfelt, so I have to dig
Mm.
really deep to really perform them. So it is very it can make you nervous in a sense. I think that's normal to feel such way. Um,
Yeah.
for me, and then like over the last year, we've done shows from 50 people in the audience to a couple thousand people in the audience, and either
Wow.
way, you got to approach it the same way. Um,
Yes.
preparation wise, now as I'm growing with it, I understand preparation, like being prepared. You know what I mean? Like really
Yeah.
like uh, running through your set every day before the show. A couple weeks leading up. Make sure you're prepared. Make sure your lyrics are down. Make sure your show mixes and all your show mics and everything is good. You know, what I mean, if you're bringing your own equipment,
Yeah.
make sure you're set up to succeed. And now I'm learning that too, and I'm still trying to implement it even more. But just being organized and treating it like a job, even before
Mm.
it is a job. You're really treating it like this is what I gotta do. You know what I mean? Treating it like it's like an exam. Like, check everything
Yeah.
off and make sure, you go out there and uh really kill it because like you said, like anybody can make, not anybody, but a lot of people can make really good music in the studio. Not a lot of people can go and translate and connect with the audience. And
Yes.
I pride myself on that really well, especially in the hip hop community. A lot of people, and you've probably seen it, they just record over, they perform over their vocal tracks, like their regular songs.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's crazy. It's super big in the hip hop community. It's crazy. So I really pride myself when I go out there and I can cut through just off of the bare instrumental backing me, or my, a guitarist or a drum, you know what I mean? But it's just my voice. There's
Yeah.
no back. People love that, dude. People become
Yeah.
infatuated with that because it's such a rarity. So that's one of the things I love about live performing as well.
And they can feel it as well. And how do you pick sort of like a set list as well? I mean, you have your bunch of EPs that you've done. Now you've got a compilation. So are you primarily just
Yes.
doing songs from that album, the Colorblind album?
Yeah. Well, yeah. For the last year, I think we did a lot of stuff off of Colorblind and even some older songs. We primarily like to read the room and see what kind of event we're doing. If we're doing
Right.
a R&B festival, for instance, we might choose songs that fit better with that demographic to captivate that audience. Because it might not make
Yes.
sense for me to do my more, upbeat, really hype stuff for that audience because I might not the new listeners that are in the audience, I might not be able to captivate them to come and actually engage on my content. So we kind of read the room, we see what we're doing um, before we choose the songs. You know what I mean? So, but with me, I have such a versatility with like love songs, radio songs, jazzy songs, groovy songs that I'm able to do a lot of different things. So that's what I appreciate.
Yeah. And like with your fans now, it seems that it seems to be just growing and growing and growing all the time.
Yes.
So how do you do that? You're always sort of approachable, like for the fans to come up and sort of talk to you after the show or before the show.
I think, yeah, of course, man. I don't even like consider people as, I guess, fans, man. I just say everybody's like family, my supporters.
Friends. Yeah,
Yeah,
family.
you
You're
know what I'm
right.
saying. I just can't even think of it like that, because I think like uh, these people are the infrastructure of me reaching any accolade I've ever reached so far. It's like, and I think people, artists in particular, kind of forget about that. It's like, man, like these people that are listening are like the reason why I'm able to do these things, the reason why I'm able to get booked for shows and paid for gigs and paid for different things in the music realm. It's not because of me. Yes, I'm the vessel with the music, but the people that listen, if they weren't there, it'd be a different story. So that's what I try and tell people all the time. That's how I look at it. So anybody that supports me is like family, so I really appreciate it. And I take it to heart, take it very seriously.
Yeah, that's a great way to look at it. So let's talk a little bit more music a little bit later. What I want to do now is go back in time. So to
Yes.
where you were born, where you grew up. So you said before that you're from Stockton, California. I've been to
Yes.
California 4 times, but I can't remember visiting Stockton. So for our
Yes.
international listeners, can you sort of let us know exactly where it is, geography
Okay.
wise?
100%. So Stockton, California is about 45 minutes south of Sacramento, which is the capital. It's about 5 hours north of Los Angeles. So it's really in the Central Valley of California, right,
Right.
right in the middle of California, in between the Bay Area and LA, closer to the
Do
Bay
they have
Area.
like?
But yeah,
Does it go through I went on the train to San Francisco. Is it go through Stockton there or no?
I think so. It depends. It depends on where you get it from, because San Francisco is about an hour and a half from Stockton. Stockton,
Right.
California, it's
Okay.
it's tucked over there. Like if you're going through like the Altamont and like Livermore, there's Stockton's closer over there. It's hard to explain, but it's close to the capital, so it's close to Sacramento.
Right.
A lot of people know
Okay.
Sacramento, but yeah, it's about 30 minutes from Sacramento.
Yeah.
So growing up in, yeah, that's where I'm born and raised, in Stockton, California, and it's crazy because the city gets such a bad rap because it was like voted like the most miserable city in the world or in the nation at one point, like a couple years back. Seriously, it was pretty bad.
Why
So
why
people
is
always,
that? Why is that?
I think because it's gotten better as of late, but I think there's been a lot of violence here. There was a time where we had all these homicides and different things of that nature. So I think that
Mm.
was why it made one of those like Forbes list of like worst places to live. It was Stockton, California.
Yeah.
Um, the thing is with me though, I love that. I don't love that violence or anything, but I love that coming from a place like that because I feel like it makes my story even better. You know what I mean? It makes
Yes.
the good I'm doing, the difference I'm making. I'm doing way different than what we're projected to be, and I love to let people know proudly where I'm from because they're like, oh
Yes.
wow, really? Because they can't believe it because of the things I'm accomplishing. But you need people like that to shine light on your city, especially if it doesn't have the
Yes.
best light on it already. So that's kind of my perspective. I would never like be ashamed of where I'm from. I think it's beautiful and it makes me who I am. So I appreciate it so much.
Yeah, absolutely. And tell us, were your mum and dad were they musicians or were they involved in like music, playing music?
So not really. My mom, not at all. My dad, when I was young, I remember he would write a lot of music, a lot of hip hop and stuff, but never really serious. I mean, he
Right.
had a couple of songs he recorded with friends, but I don't think he ever
Right.
pursued it. It was more like or like a hobby or like a side passion type thing. Um, and so unfortunately, my father passed away. I was about 11 years old. And then once that happened, I think I kind of emulated what he was doing, and I took some of the feelings I was feeling at 11, 12 years old, really started dipping into music, writing music and stuff like that. I didn't start recording until a couple years
Right.
later, but just started writing. So it's amazing, that he did that because it really inspired me to do what I'm doing now. So it's a blessing. So.
Right. And what sort of music were you listening to at that stage? Was it just songs off the radio, or tell us what?
When I first started, well, back then at like 11, 12 years old, I'm just listening to whatever's on the radio at that point.
Right. Yeah.
But I remember we started getting into CDs, and like I remember like early like listening to like early Kanye West when I was young, like Graduation album, one of my favorite albums ever. Um, a lot of Kanye, a lot of like Jay-Z back then, because I was younger and I was digging through like some older music, and that was music that I was listening to, and it really inspired me. I really liked the fact that people could, uh, you know, do these songs and be so witty and comedic and just inspirational, like really embody what I guess you would think what the American dream is. I guess like you hear these
Yes.
songs and all this bravado, like the braggadocious, like it's just all like part of the culture, and it's so beautiful. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah, so we were just talking previously just about some of your musical influences and what you were
yeah.
listening to back in that sort of time. So can you tell us again what your influences were?
Yeah, no problem. So I like I had mentioned, I think a lot of Kanye West at the time at that age. The Graduation album was very pivotal in getting me interested in music and just art in general. That was one of the first first times I really felt like an urge to like put my feelings down on paper and like try to communicate with the world with my art. I think Kanye was a really big influence, especially at a young age.
Yes.
So I'm grateful for that, because after that it was off to the races, man. So now I'm just fully into it now, 100%. And nowadays, like I like a lot of different music. I grew up listening to a lot of the Drakes, the J. Cole's, the Kendrick Lamar, some of the heavyweights,
Yes.
Big Sean's, Big Crits, different artists that have really succeeded, and are able to have a lot of mainstream success, but still maintain a level of lyricism and complexity. So it's good to see that as well. So
Yeah. And going into sort of your high school sort of days,
yeah.
actually you said that you first started writing music about 12 or 13, is that right?
12, yeah, 12. Yeah. I didn't start recording until like 15, 16. I think I put my first couple songs out around like 15, like, maybe 15, 16, like 17, really putting out serious music at that age.
Can you remember the first song that you ever wrote?
Oof, no, no way. It's been too long. No, no. I can't even remember the first song I put out, because that stuff was it wasn't even there yet, man. It was a work in progress, man.
Yeah.
Um,
So it was just a matter of just getting your name out there,
yeah,
just
just getting
just
my
trying
feet,
different things.
yeah, getting my feet wet. I don't think I really had a plan. I just was planning to um just be known, or just to get my name out there, like I said, with the music. So I would just consistently just put out music. And I think at that time there was a level of like insecurity, because I didn't have the confidence in my ability at the time.
Mm,
So yeah, really just like a lot of self-doubt, not really understanding, looking for direction, and just like not being able to. Back then, if somebody told me, "Oh, I don't really like your song," it would really like personally affect me. I would take it so personally, as
right.
opposed to now, it's kind of like I get it, you know what I mean? So not everybody's gonna like everything, but back then it was like, yeah, you're like my worst enemy now. Uh, so I think, yeah, that's pretty much all I have for that. But yeah.
Yeah. And what were some of the jobs that you had when you were first starting off, like in high school and after high school?
So in high school, I was working towards the end of high school. I was work. You know what? Actually, man, to be truthful, I had like little oddball jobs, or I would sell like snacks and stuff. But I didn't have a really serious job until I was like outside of high school. A lot of my high school years were based on just doing music, sleeping over different friends' house, recording, and really chasing that dream. We were all in. We wanted to go to like New York. We'd have these big dreams, but not
Yeah.
have a plan for them at all. So I think during high school, I was so locked in. It was like towards the end of high school, I think I was able to like uh, do like homes. Like I was like able to do home study my senior year, so I didn't have to be there all the time. I only went for like one period, and or whatever, how it goes. And then I would work for one of my best friends. His father owned a construction business, so I would like work construction.
Yes.
So, and that was crazy, man. It'd be like 100-degree summers, and I'm like digging and pouring cement. And that was important too, doing that, because it made me realize that I did not want to do that for the rest of my life.
Right.
And that's my advice to anybody trying to do anything is go out in the world and work a normal job, and you'll figure out, especially as a creative, it's like, man, I don't want to do this forever. And it kind of gives you that push to like really bet on yourself and really go all in. So I did that for a while, and then dude, I've had so many odd jobs, dude, like just weird stuff, man, like any kind of like I fell into so many pyramid schemes and all those crazy
right.
just thinking I was gonna get rich quick, man. So, but that was one of the notable jobs, working for a man named Phil Alonzo, and it was really important, man. I really learned the value of a dollar doing that construction job. Really understood where I wanted to be, and it really helped develop my work ethic that I still carry to this day, and I implement into my music. After that, I was able to go and I worked at actually UPS, the company UPS.
All right.
And I worked there in the warehouse and moving boxes, and then I ended up crazy, right? And I ended up getting into the management portion of it, and I was there from like since I was like 19, and then until last fall, I was able to leave. I left. And I just jumped out the window, and now I'm fully doing this and just working on a couple other endeavors. But yeah, it's beautiful, man. It worked out pretty well, and I'm happy, So.
And tell us about that. I mean, that's a huge step. You said it before as well. That's a huge step too. But I really, really respect that. We've had other people living here in Shanghai that have taken the big step to move here and pursue like a music career. It's a very, it's always getting bigger and bigger, the underground. And, I've spoken to people and they just said, you know what, I'm sick of the day job. I'm going to take a risk and just throw everything at this music. If it doesn't work out, at least I gave it a try. So for you, a huge step for you.
Yes.
So tell us about that, and what did your family think about it? Do you have family and friends that like are really encouraging as well? Do you have like a good support team?
Yeah, I have a good support team. I have some amazing people in my corner that really go to bat for me. And the funny thing is with leaving the job, it was kind of like I was on vacation for a week from that job. And I was already thinking about leaving. I had already like spoken to some people I wanted to leave, and they had called me on my vacation like, hey, this week you're gonna be in this city, like 45 minutes away. You're gonna be working there. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, I was like, you know what? Actually, I'm not, man. I'm not coming back. I just they're kind of messing with me towards the end because they knew I was pursuing this music and my different other endeavors I was trying to get into. So they were kind of like, the management team kind of could look at me and be like, yeah, this guy, he's got his foot out, one foot in, 1 foot out.
Yeah.
Even though I was a pretty decent worker, it was just the fact that they knew like, hey, this guy has big plans. So, and at the end, I think they were kind of messing with me. So I was like, you know what? I'm not coming back. I got other things to do. And then since then, man, I've managed to be able to really learn a lot about myself and like do a lot of other things. And now and this is like so out of field from music, but now I'm like, right now I'm training for a half marathon I'm running in March.
Yeah, right.
So I know, right? So I ran 6 miles today. So that's like, so that's what I think is cool. It's because when you're a creative, you want to do so many things. And me, dude, I want to do everything. I think life is so crazy. You know what I mean? I want to do as much as I possibly can do. So I think me leaving that job has allowed me to not only musically, but also like just to challenge myself in all these different ways I wasn't able to because I worked so much. So
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
pretty
absolutely.
crazy.
And speaking, we're getting off track a little bit from the music.
I know, I'm sorry.
No, but it's okay. I wanted to ask another question off music. I also saw that you did some modeling pictures as well. What's going on there, Carlos?
Oh
So you
man,
just
oh man. Hey, hey, you know what's crazy is I nothing official, but that was a goal I had made a couple years ago that I was going to try and get into some publication on that frontier. And I haven't gave it my 100% full push, but I think that is something I'm going to pivot back into and try to do because people tell me I should do it. And like nowadays, man, it's they want people from all walks of life, people from different body styles, and it used to be different. You got to be really thin, whatever. I'm a more like heavier, more muscular dude, so you don't see a lot of models necessarily like that. You see like really thin, New York, Fashion Week, whatever. So I think now I'm able to, hopefully I can make that happen. So now I can visualize it, and hopefully I can get in tune and really buckle down and make it come together for me. So.
And then how do you sort of stay fit? You're in the public eye a lot. If you're going to do modeling and playing regular gigs and all that, you want to always sort of keep fit and
yeah.
So how do you do that?
It's important.
Yeah, you keep
for
the
me,
diet or.
Yeah, right now. So for the last 3 years, I've been. People don't believe it because they see me, and they're like, they don't believe me when I say this, but I've been on a plant-based vegan diet for probably the last year, and probably like a vegetarian diet the last 3 years in total. So since like August of 2019 or something like that, 2019, or something. It's something like that. But that was very big for me. Just by doing that, I was able to cut a lot of weight. I began to become a little bit overweight. I lost a lot of weight and was controlling some metrics on my health side of things, and was also able to just kind of influence a lot of my family and friends to kind of follow suit, cut out a lot of like dairy products and stuff because in America, I don't know how it is there, but we how we eat over here. It's crazy, dude.
Yeah, extra. The first time I come there. Sorry, Carlos. First time I come to the US, it was like our extra large was like maybe that. Like it just category. Like the US is like twice as big.
It's crazy. Yeah. Do you see that though? Is that true though? Is it out of proportion?
Oh yeah. Like the burgers and there was an In-N-Out burger that you can only get in California or something like that. And we went there one time and like asking for like a burger, and it was like this huge burger. I was like, oh my god. So yeah, it is a little bit out of proportion, but
yeah, man.
Sort of like going along the highways, going to different cities, and like all these truck stops, and it's just all fatty food, and it's like, where's the fruit? Where's the vegetables? You know what I
mean? There's none, man. And that's why I made a change because I come from like health wise, I come from a family of like diabetics, like cancers, different things, throughout my whole family. So I told myself, you know what? I need to make a change because of the diet we've been doing for the last couple of decades and centuries of my family isn't working. So let me see if I can change. That's one thing I had read is like, you can only blame your genetics for so much, because sometimes it's just the eating habits passed down in the family as well as genetics. If your family's always ate pasta all the time, then, maybe that's why everybody has high cholesterol. I mean, it just ties in that way,
And I read on your Instagram that you're the co-founder of PlantBased. Now, is that another sort of food?
Yes.
Or is that all right?
So it ties in. So it's the plant-based thing is just like that's just me describing who I am. We have a food truck. It's called Last Mart. It's a vegan Mexican food truck, and it's fire. You would love it. It tastes exactly like cheese and pork and everything, but it's all plant-based fruits, jackfruit, a lot of jackfruit, seasons and different things of that nature, cheese from almonds and things like that. So that's kind of like another endeavor I have, and that's something like I'm really passionate about. I think that especially in America, we consume so much animal and dairy product. It's crazy, man. And it's no good. Everybody's overweight, man. That's the crazy thing over here. Seriously.
And especially in the pandemic too, like you can't go outside, so
Yeah, man. People
watch TV, and
TV. Yeah. Yeah, so that's one of the things. Yeah, so that is the Last Marties is one of the things that's like my baby, man. So I've been kind of like flagging the ship on the marketing and co-founding that one. So I really am trying to push that. I'm doing so much at once. People look at me like, you're doing so much, but that's how my mind works. I think it's a slight ADHD. I need to like kind of like I can't focus on one thing for too long. I'll spend a couple of days doing one project, and like I like to do different things. It keeps me interested. If not, I get really bored, you know. So.
Well. Speaking of new projects, only just posted on your Instagram, 7 or 8 hours ago. Let's get it. Baby remix. Tell us about this. Tell us about this.
Yes. So it's an artist, another artist from the same city as me. Her name is Surf Baby. She's super charismatic, super fun, like super fun music. She's amazing, and she had invited me. Her and her producer Jerry had invited me an extended invitation for me and another artist from the city to hop on the song, rebrand it, and then that we're doing a remix, and it's coming out on the 21st of January. So in about 8 days from now or 7 days from now. So so next Friday. So so it's really cool, and I love doing that. I feel like sometimes that's the best things is like doing features is sometimes even more fun than doing your own music because you kind of can just like it's less pressure. You're just like going in there and you can just kill it, and you're just doing your part. You're not putting together the whole song. You're just doing one part. So it's really cool, and it's gonna be really, really cool. And I'll make sure to send that to you when it comes out.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely. We'll promote it. And but I'm always interested to ask, like, how do you pick like these people that are on your albums, especially like she picked you to come on. So how do you? Is there like a process, or is it just like a friends, or is it your music? So is it word of mouth, or is it just through your label, or?
I think it's a combination of all those things. It could be from a label person, like, hey, we have this guy that we might want you to collab with, check him out. Or it can be personally me just finding somebody that I know. A lot of it is some of those people I have been friends with for years. So I just, hey, I have a song. It sounds like you would kill it here. Check this out. Send it to them. They like it. They come to the studio or they go in their studio and get it done. For me, though, now I want to do more with like other artists, like from different states, like I would love to do something for somebody from Shanghai, like really like bring that surprising element to people. Like people are, I want people to listen to my stuff and like, who is this guy that he's working with? Like almost like, whatever, really shine that light. So that's something I'm looking forward to. And I think back to your question, of course, is a lot of the features come from just me handpicking them or me having relationships or me hearing, like listening to a song I'm making, and I can hear so-and-so really doing well on this. Let me see what they think. And then sending it through and things like that. So hopefully I want to go beyond, because a lot of people I work with are from California. So I want to go beyond the parameters this upcoming year. And I want to be able to, do, different people, different continents, different producers, and really just diversify my sound. So that's something I'm working on.
And I'm from Australia as well. So any talks with any hip hop artists in Australia, or?
No, I haven't. Are there really? Is there a good hip hop community out there?
It always is. It's always up and down. It's a bit like my style of music with like the hard rock. It's always, sometimes it's on radio, sometimes it's not, but it's always there in the underground.
Yeah.
So we always have like a good sort of, but it's I don't know. It's difficult because they want to sound like the American rappers, but they want to have be different. So it's like sort of like it's like a balance thing. But it's not the sort of like the style of music that I'm listening to all the time. But from the popular ones that come out, it's sort of like how are you going to push that internationally? You know what I mean? So
yeah. You should send me some when we get back, so I can hear. I would like to hear some people.
Yeah, definitely. And I could play some guitar on your one of
no problem. Yeah, of course. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I need it, man. I'm looking for the instrumentation is a beautiful thing too. Just like like we talked about, paying that saxophone was so like cool. Like people love that, and it's like you have to live instruments implemented into today's music climate just makes it that much better because nobody's doing it as much anymore. Everything's like everything's just electronic now, which is okay, but it's cool to have that that live feel.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the live feel is a lot better, in my opinion. I just like I think having it really overproduced, can anyway. That's just my feelings.
Yeah, no
so
problem.
let's talk about your first EP that you brought out a couple of years ago. So I do believe it was like Neither Before. Is that the first one that
Yes.
you did? So
That was one of the bigger ones we did. Yes, that was
right.
about 2 years ago now. Yeah, it was 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago now. Yeah.
Yeah. So was this process? How did this all come about? Like all of a sudden you'd be writing music, and then
Yeah.
okay, so now it's time to focus on your career and your music career. How did this all come about? Did you have people that you knew, a good studio? How
Yeah.
did it all come?
So a blessing for me is I work with a producer named O for Show, and he has really helped me out a lot and opened his doors for a studio. He's like my brother, you know what I mean? Like I call him my brother because he brings me in, we work together, and it's not always about money or he's not always looking for credit for certain, like we're just like trying for the better good. Sometimes we're just trying to make it happen.
So
And we
sorry, Carlos. Sorry to cut you.
no problem.
I just trying to find it. Is this Plural Music?
No, so Plural Music is my distributor and my artist management. So this is a
Right.
different. This is just a friend of a friend, and we ended up creating a great relationship. And we make really great music together. He produces probably like 90% of the work that you hear. He did Pain. He made the instrumentation for Pain, the first half,
Oh, right.
and helped the second half. So he's really talented. So with him, we were always working on music, and we were already releasing music. But when we did that project, it was really special. There's a song on there called Electric. It was my first time actually producing a song and releasing it. Like actually, yeah, I think I did about 80% of the production on that one. Like I did everything except like I think so. I had a bass player come in and play the bass on it, but everything else I did myself. And that was the first time, you know what I mean? And I've been doing music for a long time, and now I finally learned how to kind of like, if I need to, it's not necessarily my passion, but I can produce some stuff. You know what I mean? I'm not the best at it just yet, but I think I do a really good job, and I'm able to approach music differently. And I have that ear. I can go in the studio and kind of talk with the same jargon as the producers and the engineers because I know what needs to be done from my ears now, and that makes a difference too. And I've some artists I've listened to always say like, no matter what you do, you should know a little bit about every aspect. If you're an artist, you should know about post production. You should know about engineering. You don't have to be a professional, but just know enough to where you can talk in that language with these people around you. It makes sense. So
yeah,
we did so going forward. So we did that, and then so Like Never Before happened, and that one was a really great moment. We had a big song on there called M's. We did a really nice video for it, and we did a really good push for it that year. And it really set me up for 2020 and 2021. So I'm super excited for what's gonna happen next.
And whose idea was it to do the EPs in a different color?
That was something I had talked about with a friend of mine, named a friend, and also somebody that helps me out at the Plural Music label. His name is Joe Q. Joe Q. I had talked to him about it before, and it was talked to him about it a couple years ago, and we never did it. And I think this time I was taking it upon myself, like I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna challenge myself, and I'm gonna just try and put out this music. And it was pretty successful, and I thought it was great exercise for me to learn. And what it really did is it built the foundation within my catalog. So now when people go like yourself, you go listen, you have all this material to listen to. So if you find me on YouTube or in an interview like this one, you go back and you have hours of content already
Yes.
there. Some people don't have that. They might have one or two songs. And I've seen people go viral or blow up, and they off of one song, right? You know, but they have
That's
no
it.
catalog. They have no catalog under, so they're like scrambling to try and make the next hit, and you can easily like, you know, fall off that way. I feel like organically having that stockpile of content, so when people do discover you, they have hours of material to shift through, and I think that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And did you, for this album that come out, Colorblind, did you re-record these, or did you pick them from you know, these color EPs and put them
So
you know?
So what we did is we basically picked them, we
Mhm.
remastered them, remixed them, and
Right.
then we added some different vocal elements. And like I said, there was like one or two songs we added that were brand new, like bonus tracks. So basically, it's just repackaging it. But what's cool about it is, and this is a cheat code right here for anybody listening, but we put that project out, and it has the same ISRC numbers as the songs that were originally out. So technically,
Oh.
the first day the project comes out, it already has X amount of streams because of the songs were already streaming months prior. So then it's pretty cool. It's actually pretty cool because then when labels look at you like, hey man, he just put out this album, it already has 1 million streams. It's been 1 week
Yeah.
or whatever. But it's because, you know, it's a compile of everything else. And that's what the major artists do. They put out these singles 2 years before their album comes out, and then their album comes out, they add that single and they go platinum in like a week. It's because
Yeah.
that song's already platinum. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like an industry cheat code that I'm learning about. So it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
And you said that you're doing the collaborations. So let's talk about the future for you, Carlos. So you know, what's the plans for 2022 and beyond?
100%. I think right now I'm really just honing in on, like I said, I have like things going on personally, and with music, I think it's just like we last year we did a lot of music. We put out a lot of music. I think this year we're looking to scale back and really just develop a couple of those like try to make those hits. You know what I mean? Like really sit back and stay in the studio consistently, but maybe not be as vocal with projects. We really want to, because last year we were just putting out music, boom, boom, boom,
Right.
right at the press. Now we want to really strategize, and I've been working with my team to really put action plans in place to really hit different milestones. Like if I want to say, hey, we want to pass X amount of streams this year. How can we do this? How many streams do we need to get per week, per month, per quarter to be able to reach this goal? So that's why I'm trying to really break it down and like put it into different compartments and and execute. So I think this year we're just going to make a lot of music and really sit back and find the songs, the project, or whatever it may be, to really attack and be strategic with it with our approach. And then going forward, man, you know, the sky's the limit. You know, I hope to, you know, be holding the Grammy one day on stage, because I think that I have what it takes to do it. I think I bring a little different flair to the table, and I think it's only a matter of time. I think it's all about consistency, man.
Yes.
That's what I tell people all the time, because talent is subjective, and talent means nothing if you're not willing to put in the work. So,
And there was a quote there that I wanted to. Oh, pressure makes diamonds.
yes,
Tell me about
that's
this
why
quote. Tell me about this
that
quote.
that that one's fire. That was, I think that's off of. I don't even know where I got that from, but that's one that stood out for me. It might be like an old J. Cole song or something, but it was like it says coal, like, you know, coal under pressure makes diamonds. And it's like pressure makes diamonds. If you don't feel that friction, if you're not feeling that stress, those anxieties, that pressure from life, then you're probably not like working how you should be, I guess, or you're not going to go and be that diamond and really expand.
Yes. And a family in the future, Carlos, or do you have a family? I'm sorry, I don't know.
No, no, no. So right now, no, actually well, it's last year now, but about a month ago, I actually just got engaged.
Oh,
So
congratulations.
yeah, thank you so much, sir. So, but you know, right now, me and her, we're just like relentlessly working. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She's kind of helping me man the businesses and things of that nature. I'm going all in with this music, and we're both taking care of our fitness as well. So right now we're just enjoying just me and her right now. You know what I mean? Before we dive into any kids or anything like that. So, I think this is the best time is to just enjoy each other and be able to travel,
Yes.
do some other things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah.
we talked a little bit about it before, but what would you say to an inspiring rapper or musician, maybe even from Stockton, or from someone in Australia that wants to sort of get into the music industry, or create music? What would you say to them? What advice?
Man, I would just say, man, one, I would tell people. Let me see. You got a good question there. I would tell people not to dive into this realm unless they are ready for the disappointments as well. Like it's not all what you see on TV and in the magazines is not all true. It's not all butterflies and rainbows. There's been relentless periods where I had to really push through. I think there's a lot of moments in my career where I almost gave up in the beginning because in the beginning it's so hard. Like I said, you have those self doubts. Those you don't know how good you are. You don't know where you can take it. You love it, but you don't know what you're really doing. You don't have the resources, the connections. You see other people doing it, and they're getting further than you, faster than you want to go. So I would tell people to, don't give up.
Yes.
Do your research and really hone in on perfecting your craft, your music, and of course, like we talked about, your live performance. Make sure you have a good live performance.
Yes.
Because when all else fails, man, if your live performance is strong, you can do anything.
Yeah.
And you have so many more opportunities. Even if you're a small artist, clubs will call you and say, "Hey, man, we want to book you for X amount of dollars because we seen you do that set last week at this venue and you killed it. We want to bring you to our venue." So you never know, who will pick you up because of that.
Yeah.
And I think one of the biggest things that I'm learning now is treat your connections, your interactions with people at like a business. Like it's a business, and I think people don't understand. Like Carlos Bryant is a business, and I'm the CEO, and I'm really running this business. And if we all looked at it like that, you probably approach it a lot different.
Yeah.
It's a level of professionalism, and just never grow up, man. I'm like the biggest kid ever, dude. I'm like the biggest goofball ever. But I think that's makes for like me to be really vulnerable and be really funny and laugh through some of the hardest times, and that's what makes me great. So I think that's kind of my like weird wrap up and advice for anybody getting into it. Is just if you want it, go get it. Nobody can take it from you. You know what I mean? Just go and take it. You know what I'm saying? And just put in the work. You just got to put in the work.
Yeah, exactly. Where can we find you for international listeners? Your social medias?
Yeah, social media. So I have my website where you can find a lot of my stuff, www.carlosbryant, CarlosBryant.com, or my social medias. They're all at Carlos Bryant 209 for Instagram, Twitter, anything of that nature. And that's kind of where I am, and that's where you can find me. YouTube, the same way, Carlos Bryant 209. CarlosBryant 209. That's the area code of Stockton.
Oh, come on.
209. Yeah, I know. I'm super proud of that. So yeah, that's where you can find me.
And you also have a link tree there, just like myself. I think this is great because you can just click on it and it comes up with all your YouTube links and all that. So I think that's a really cool way. So that's on your Instagram page as well. So you can find all his music there as well. So just very quickly before we go, I'd just like to ask a couple of quick questions. So first one, it's a tough one for you, especially you're a musician, but can you give me your top 3 or 4 favorite artists of all time as of today?
All time?
Yes.
As of today?
Yes.
Living and dead, or just living?
Either.
Oh, see, that makes it too hard. Artists, and that's hard. That's difficult, man. That's almost an unanswerable question. Like that's a tough one. Because then, I want to draw for, like the Princes and the Michael Jacksons as well, because, you know what I mean? I can't just stay, just in the hip hop lane. Like if we're saying all greatest artists ever, there's a lot of people
For you, but not like, you know,
in general,
in your opinion.
in my 2-3 biggest artists ever. I'll just go with who I named before. Like for me personally, people I really look up to is like, it would be like Drake, J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar. I think those guys raised me. The last 10 years of my life, I've spent listening to them. Yeah. And I feel like I've learned more from music than I've learned from teachers. So I think they've taught me quite a bit about myself as well. So I would say those 3 gentlemen there.
Okay. Once again, very difficult. So
it is. I know it is.
As of today, yeah. So and sport-wise, who are your 2 or 3 top favorite sporting teams?
I'll just go with one probably, and just the Las Vegas Raiders now, but they used to be the Oakland Raiders. My dad was a big fan, so it's in my bloodline. So
they get moved around all the time. Like they're the ones that sort of like
LA,
shifting.
Oakland. Yeah, they're in Las Vegas now. Yeah, they have a nice stadium down there. They're in the playoffs for the first time in a minute too.
Oh, pretty cool. That's really cool. And international destinations. Tell us 2 or 3 cities that you visited, and 2 or 3 of favorite destinations, and then 3 that you would like to go to in the future.
So I haven't really done much traveling outside of California. I'll be honest with you. The furthest I went is I went to the East Coast. I went to Boston.
Okay.
And it was amazing. It was amazing. It was just amazing. It was cool. It was snowing. It was so cool. Because there doesn't snow in California like that. So it's so cool to see that. And I love being in Los Angeles when I'm in California. I love it. That's where I'm planning on moving hopefully this year. Going down there where all the celebrities are at. There's a lot of opportunity as well. For internationally, man, I was just talking to my fiance about going to I think I want to see with Spain. I want to go to like Japan, primarily. Maybe like southern, like the like southern part of Americas, like all the Spanish countries. I would like to go down there too, and try that out as well. I haven't even been there, so I have a lot of work to do. Hopefully this year could be the year I can do a lot more, because last year and the year before were horrible for traveling. So.
Come on, Carlos, you got to come down to Australia, mate. Australia is calling you. Last question, Carlos. Who is your greatest inspiration / hero, and why?
Greatest inspiration / hero, why? That's a good question. That's a hard question. I think I'd have to boil it down to 2 people, and I think I would just give that to my mother and my grandmother. I think are some of my biggest inspiration. Really strong women that kind of busted their ass to make it happen for me and for my siblings as well, and like it's one of those things, man, where when you see people that will do whatever to make sure you're good, even when times are kind of tough, I think those are the people that deserve their flowers, because it's like, without that, man, you don't have anything. And that kind of set the pace for me, the work ethic for me as well, is because and that's my whole thing. I tell people now, I just want to provide, when I do have children, I want them to have a better upbringing than I had, and I want them to be able to provide their kids a better upbringing. It should be a cycle that continues of better, better. So I think from them, I see everything they sacrificed to make it happen for me. So I'm grateful, and now I'm taking my opportunities to try and make it with these passions and dreams. And I take it so personally, because I know that they believe in me, and they believe in the music and what I'm doing. So I feel like I owe it to them to keep trying every day. So those are like my biggest heroes, those women in my life. Keep me on the right track. Very simple, but I couldn't, it wouldn't be right to say anybody else. So
absolutely. I think that's a good way to finish off, Carlos.
Yes, 100%, man.
Amazing talent.
Thank you.
I love how you've decided to give it a go, throw everything into it. and give it a try.
Yes.
You're pumping out music like there's, you know,
No
like it's
tomorrow. I know.
like it's coming out very, very nice and very, very smoothly. So
Yes.
for a musician or an artist to be able to do that is very impressive.
Thank you so much.
Keep up the good work, and
Thank you.
come on again anytime and promote some things.
Yes.
And we look forward to some new music in the future.
Hey, no problem. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for having me. I'm excited for, you know, some of your friends down there in Shanghai to check it out and see what they think as well, man. I'm gonna have to come down to Shanghai actually now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
that
it's a
sounds pretty cool.
It's a big city, but it's very multicultural, and you know, it's similar to you. If you work hard and you want to start your own business, there's so many opportunities here. So yeah.
You think so?
Yeah. All right, Carlos.
100%, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for your time. All the best. Have a good night.
No problem. You have a good one.